Today I want to discuss if immigration it's harder for females or males, East European men or East European women. It will be very insightful, interesting conversation, so stay till the end. It's time for you to create life according to your rules. CLATYR, create life according to your rules. Appreciate for all the one who comment and supports my channel. Really appreciate that. Love you all, and these comments really help me. So regarding this topic, I discussed some of the difficulties as myself and more East European men that come into New Zealand and trying to get a life here, yes? And what are the results for a lot of men. But on the other hand, is a woman from East Europe will feel and have the same issues and difficulties as Ukrainian men? In my experience, in my opinion, no, she won't. She will have issues, but not the issues that I describe. If I talked about the matter of empathy and sympathy, generally women receive way more empathy and sympathy from society, doesn't matter where they're going to be. Again, this channel is mostly for men. I'm not a woman, but I just share some of the experience from women that I knew, and generally from psychology and social sciences. First of all, socially, East European women considered socially, especially in the Western countries, as something boutique, something very unique, and something really high value. Because men usually value women by their looks and how they behave, you know, their body language. So if let's say average woman from Ukraine that comes to New Zealand, she will become way above average in New Zealand, because, sorry Kiwi ladies, but New Zealand women, sorry Kiwi ladies, but Ukrainian women generally considered way beautiful than Kiwi women. And a lot of men and also women will agree with me. So when a woman like that comes to New Zealand and she's single, yes, there is a huge competition of men over our attention here. Because the Ukrainian woman, she dresses very, very nicely, looks very, very nicely, and she has a lot of feminine traits that the women generally here just have something else. But the feminine trait that men find in Ukrainian women, it's very advanced. So automatically a Ukrainian woman will feel very privileged here. She will feel that her value is high, even though she's a migrant, yes? Even though our accent is not perfect, our English is not perfect, but most men and women local will ignore that. And, oh, the accent doesn't matter, our English is not good, doesn't matter. For example, how many men from the US going to Ukraine and happy to be around a woman like that without knowing any English and speak with her with a translation, just because she's nice and beautiful and feminine. That's it. Of course, if I'm looking bigger, you know, if a woman is looking nice, generally her life in the Western world is way easier, because the society exploded the ego and the value of women artificially. And the same happening in other countries around the world, but especially in the Western countries. Because what happened in East European countries and Slavic countries, many men died in war, so it became that there are a lot of women and not enough men. So the attention and the value of women over there for many years wasn't that high. That's why you saw a lot of Slavic men with very beautiful women around them, and the men don't really look really nice or earning much, or there is nothing that you can say, okay, this is someone unique and that's why she with him. No. Recently, all the agendas of the Western world began to sink to the minds of East European women, and also their ego got inflated, so they understood and got their worth, artificial worth, of course. But when a woman like that come to New Zealand and get all this attention from men online and in life, and receive all this empathy, of course, her life is way, way easier. Let's add to the fact that evolutionary women made in the way that they can adapt to different cultures and environments, because that's their way of survival. While men won't be so adaptive. They will try to stay as who they are and preserve that, their identity, then try to adapt to a new environment and change. Yeah? For example, when in the past been many wars and a country was conquered, then the men took over the other country. They mostly preserved men and children, women and children, and the women needed to compromise and agree to be with the conqueror. And that's how evolutionary women survived. So women made to adapt to new environments or other people, while men, they will prefer to fight. Yeah? That's how nature works and evolution works. So for a lot of women here, especially I know in New Zealand and Australia, sometimes they come in here and have even no degree or profession or any kind of super skilled job. And a lot of these women don't even need something like that, because they know that they come into Australia or New Zealand, they go into a dating sites, and they just need to date every day a guy, because if they put their photo, how they look like, without any description even, they will get dozens of matches each day. So for them, dating is very, very easy. And eventually they will choose a man, of course, someone who is a citizen or resident, usually local, and they will date with him and see if they have opportunity to get a residency through this man, and of course will be financially supported while she's here. After she gets a residency, if she kind of in some level likes the man and he's all right, she will stay with him, and also will receive all the benefits of his social circle, of the connections in work, even though she doesn't really need him, because she's a nice looking woman from Eastern Europe, so she will get privileged anyway. Yeah? Of course, depends if she goes to the right places here, but still she will be treated very nicely. But a lot of the time, these women, or they stay, or they just divorce after they already got the residency, because they will have no problem to find another man. Because even for local men, yes, it's quite difficult to find suitable women to have marry and have children with. So that's something very common amongst Eastern European women. They get a lot of attention, lots of attention from the environment, and a lot of empathy and sympathy, and a lot of people want and trying to help them in a lot of ways. That's just injustice that happens in the Western society now with men and women. That's reality, unfortunately. Women who are watching that, of course, can agree or disagree, write in the comments. But what are the difficulties that they will face and they will be? Of course, it's the same. Cultural adaptation. They probably won't be really connected or like the culture. They won't understand the place. They will feel some loneliness because they live in, even they with a man, they live in a man that is completely not the same culture, not the same ways of chats, not the same jokes, like, you know, this thing. So they will struggle with that, but eventually they will adapt because it's in their genes. And also they will think with their head that, okay, what are my other options? Is to come back to Russia where there are millions of other nice looking and gorgeous women to compete with on the men there? Nah, I prefer to be here and compete with New Zealand women and win them, win the men over them, yeah, then come back to East Europe and have, you know, more rich life than there, of course. So another difficulty, if I can say it's difficulty, that they have too much attention, and sometimes it's consuming because they sometimes can get stopped in different places and men will want to get to know them. And too much attention generally creates a situation that psychologically they devalue of the men that want them, because it's naturally when you have too much of something you begin to depreciate it, and these women have a lot of that and they depreciate it, specifically men, because they have so much of them. And that's, in one hand it's a good place to be, but in other hand it's not really, because when they will be with someone they will also won't appreciate them as much as, let's say, a man that been alone for many years, couldn't get a wife, and then suddenly get a gorgeous and nice and loving and feminine woman next to him. Of course he will cherish and love her. It's not like he had hundreds of them before, yeah? They're just human nature. And of course, they might have some difficulties also with jobs, depends on their profession, and general struggles that every local people feels. I think he was kind of following me, I guess. Yeah. So, to summarize, the experience of a woman in immigration completely different from experience of a man in immigration, but specifically East European women in immigration to New Zealand to East European men in immigration to New Zealand. Let's have a discussion, agree, disagree, write in the comments. It's time for you to create life according to your rules. CLATYR, create life according to your rules.